Good Chodesh, everyone. A good Chodesh. Good morning. Today is Rosh Chodesh Adar, the 30th of Shevat, and we're going to learn today's Tanya, which is on page 89 in your Chayenu, and we're in the middle of chapter 29. Beautiful Tuesday morning. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Yoni. Thank you, everyone. And Steve, let's go. You ready? Here we go. In today's lesson, another humbling meditation. Yesterday, we thought of ourselves as lowly creatures if we cannot overcome our evil temptations. Now, we're going to think about the multitudes of thoughts, words, and actions, and even dreams. We ended off with the dreams yesterday, right, Lara? Yes. All the different thoughts and words and even dreams that we think about, which are not holy or serving Hashem's purpose, and the inner space that puts one in. Okay. So obviously, the more that we think of something, the more it becomes a part of you. So we have to try very hard. Even our dreams, Steve, you didn't know you can control your dreams, did you? What you think about during the day oftentimes manifests in dreams at night. So the more Torah we learn, the more Yiddishkeit we're involved with, that's what we're going to dream about. Okay. V'gam mishu noki mechates nurim hachamurim yosim eliba l'kayim ma'amer zohar hakadosh liyos mimore dechushbana. Even a person who's innocent of grievous sins of youth. Let's say when he was younger, he didn't do horrible things that he has regret and they haunt him, but yet he wants to attain a broken spirit. He should set aside time to think about and set his heart to fulfill the counsel, what the Zohar teaches us, to be a master of accounts. Be responsible and take responsibility for your actions, and not just your actions, but also your thoughts and your speech. Alter Rebbe is saying that you should spend time once a day, twice a day, once a week, twice a week, whatever it might be, put certain times aside to sit and do what we call a cheshbon hanefesh, to sit and calculate what you did right, what you did not so right, how you could improve, what you do better. And you think about, you think about the time that literally from the time of cognition, the time that you have a memory till now. You think about all the years that have passed. Obviously, it's easier to think about more recent times, but that's okay. But you also think back. You still have an opportunity. That's the only time we could do Back to the Future, is when we think about our Averis and we could transform them into some kind of a positive thing, and then we could transform the darkness into light. We think back to whatever we were doing at the time, many years ago, yesterday, a minute ago, whether they were from the side of holiness or the other side, God forbid. Anything that was not dedicated to God, whether it's in our thoughts or our speech. If it's not on the holy side, then it's the other side. Whatever that might be, even if you think, what's so terrible about that? You call ace. It's known that whenever you think holy thoughts, you now become a vessel, a chariot for godliness. That's it, beautiful. And obviously the opposite is also true. God forbid, you're thinking extraneous thoughts, lustful thoughts, negative thoughts, anger, any of these things, jealousy, thinking about somebody else's belongings or the like, that's on the other side of holiness, and that's tumah. And even when you say it, and when you do something about it, of course. Okay, so thus, even one who cannot call to mind any past sins, that's a pretty high level. Imagine you can't think of any sins you've done in the past. You could still stay humble by contemplating how often he has become a vehicle for impurity through his thoughts and words and actions. Even if they're not simple, they're still not dedicated to Hashem. So you could say, what's the big deal? It was kosher food. Yeah, but you were full and you ate gluttonously. You can't maybe find the Avera, but this is not appropriate. Or thoughts that were a middle of Shemoneh Esrei, and suddenly it's business thoughts. What could be so terrible? Okay, but it's not, you're not thinking about words of the davening. It wasn't directed towards God. It was, thinking about your next big purchase that's going to appease you and make you feel good about yourself. Furthermore, a person, again, this is talking about a person who doesn't sin regularly. So if he's sitting and doing a cheshbon nefesh, he's not thinking about sins because he can't think of any. He already did tshuva for those sins. So if he's thinking, he could think about thoughts that were maybe kosher, but they weren't directed towards God. So let at least, or he says, think about your dreams. The dreams that you had weren't so kosher. Yosim aliba roiv chalamesav shem hevel urus ruach mishum she'ein nafshe oil l'mayla k'meshikasim miyala ba'ar Hashem niki kapayim. These dreams were frivolous and vanity because his soul does not ascend heavenward during his sleep, since it's written, who shall ascend the mountain of the Lord? Who? He who has clean hands. Ki kapayim. Ve'inon sitrim bishin ason umistabkon bei umaydin lei chemla milin the Alma ulemizin the Chayichon Bay. I feel like we did this yesterday. What's today? Tuesday, right? Did I skip yesterday and do this? We were talking about these dreams also. Umazin chayvan bei dachize lei mile shkar v'tzarin lei bechem lei k'maisha kasav zayir vayikra daf chaf aleph amud chaf hey amud aleph amud chaf v'ayin sham baruchus. Those originating from evil side come and attach themselves to him. Did we talk about Yuda? I feel like we did this yesterday. Yuda, help me out here. It says, those originating from the evil side come and attach themselves to him and inform him in his dreams of mundane affairs. And sometimes mock him and show him false things and torment him in his dreams. And so on and so forth. Which means that sometimes you could, and you might think to yourself, I can't control my dreams. Maybe to a certain extent we cannot. But we see from the Zohar that one may evaluate himself by studying the content of his dreams. Thereby he can humble his spirit even if he finds himself free of sin. If a person says, listen, I'm on a really good streak, I've been doing really well, I don't know what I have to do tshuva for. I feel like I'm in a good place. So Alter Rebbe says, okay, think about your dreams. Even though you can't control them, but since they're unclean and impure, so you have what to fix and you have what to humble yourself. The whole idea is to break your ego. Contemplation to breaking self-centeredness of the animal soul. And this is what you think. You think my thoughts, speech, and actions, which I thought to be neutral, were actually self-serving. They didn't make me a chariot, a vehicle, or a vessel for godliness. So you ask Hashem for help, and that humbles a person as he continues to strive towards his better service of Hashem. Okay. That's it for today.